Well, I'm really excited. Would you share with us what you would sort of identify as some of your more impactful projects and activities when you were serving as the director of the World Food Program during that time? Just a
Well,
few
thank
stories.
you so much for that question because too often when people think about the World Food Program and we think about emergency food assistance, we think about bloated babies with bloated bellies, babies with flies on their eyes, emaciated children who are suffering from severe malnutrition. I saw that. Yes, and
Mhm.
and we addressed those issues, and we lost a lot of babies, but we also saved a lot of babies. And those aren't the children you see. You don't see the ones that are thriving. You
Mhm.
don't
Mm.
see
Wow.
the
Yeah.
child that sat on my lap in Haiti when her mother was so proud to put this child who had on a white t-shirt and white shorts with not a speck of dirt on it, with fat and happy, um, because and everything around her said she didn't have very much.
Mhm.
She lived in a house with a dirt floor. She was surviving on less than $2 a day.
Wow.
But she, with the support from the programs that we developed and implemented in Haiti, was able to provide the 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 supplemental food that her child needed because he was about 8 months old. She was still breastfeeding him, and she was able to provide him with nutritious food from her breast because she was healthy,
Yes. Yes.
and
Yeah.
then this baby was healthy. And so those are the babies that don't make the 6 o'clock news.
Mhm.
And that's what people need to see because they need to understand that the emergency and the humanitarian support that they provide it saves lives, but it also changes lives.
Mhm.
And it creates hope where none existed. I'll tell you another story.
Mhm.
I was sitting with a group of mothers in South Sudan
Oh,
where
yes.
where the women it was the conflict in South Sudan, and for those of you who don't know, is our youngest nation that has been in conflict
Mhm.
more than at peace since it became a nation. And many of the men find themselves a part of the conflict, and the women sheltering and attempting to feed and care for their children. And these women had walked from a conflict area, and they were walking to Ethiopia into a refugee camp. And so we met them midway with food. But before they arrived at this way station where we were providing food support, they were feeding their babies lily pads
Oh.
along the way just to keep their stomachs full.
Mhm.
No nutritional value, just calories to keep their stomachs full. And the children, though, were playing duck, duck, goose. One of my colleagues taught them to play because what you saw was here were children who had, by every definition, nothing,
Yeah.
but they had mothers who loved them that were keeping them alive. They had mothers who sat on the ground with
Mhm.
them and talked to me. And when I asked them, what did they want me to tell the world about them?
Mhm.
And they started talking to each other in their own language. And one of them said, through our interpreter, she said, I want you to tell the world, don't forget us.
Oh.
I want you to tell the world that we want our children to be educated because we want them to have, particularly our girls, we
Mhm.
want them to have more opportunities in the future. And I want you to tell the world that we want the opportunity to grow food, to raise food, and so that we can feed our own children. We
Wow. Yeah.
appreciate the help that you're
Yep.
giving us today,
Mhm.
but our goal is to feed our own children.
Mhm.
We want peace so we can feed our own children. I could have had that conversation with a mother on the west side of Chicago, the
Mhm.
west side of New York, or in Minneapolis, and you would have heard exactly almost the same thing. The words may have been different. What we want for our
Mhm.
children,
Mhm.
wherever you sit, it's just not very different. And too often we don't realize that there's more community in our desires for peace, prosperity, and opportunity
Yeah.
that limit our ability to see people and to see them beyond their situation,
Mm-hmm.
so that
Mm-hmm.
we can provide the assistance and support that is necessary to help them move beyond that situation.
Mm-hmm.